Hi babes, it's your mama back in a very, very sunny, as you can see, LA after a trip in the very sunny but very hot Cuba. And I'm so excited because this is my first vlog about my time in Cuba. I took some video while I was in Miami, but I'm just so excited to share with you the very interesting experience that I had in Cuba. So this video is going to be about my first day arriving in Cuba. So when we first got to Havana, which is where we stayed, we got off of the plane and I was worried that I was going to be arrested, which is like a really paranoid thought because my family left Cuba in like the 50s and 60s, and I thought that maybe it's really crazy there and that they would be upset with me because of my last name. But I got through customs okay. So once we got through customs, we went to go exchange our currency. And in Cuba, you can't use any American currency whatsoever. So you can't pull out any cash, you can't use debit cards, you can't use any credit cards. So we had money that we brought from America. We brought $1,000. And we had to exchange it into Cuban money, so we lost some money there. And that was all the money we had for our whole trip, which we went through like half of in the first 2 days, which was bad. But you'll see how that plays out. But just so you know, if you ever go to Cuba, bring some cash. So it's true that in Cuba they don't have many updated cars. Most of the cars are from the 40s and 50s. They're those old school cars, or some cars are from the 70s and 80s. So a lot of them are very rundown and they don't have good grip on the tires or seat belts. So that was really interesting. And I noticed during the cab ride to our Airbnb that there was still propaganda or media, whatever you want to call it, all over the highways and the buildings, and on a newspaper that I had in the car, just focusing on the revolution still. So they count the years in the Años de la Revolución. So years since the revolution. So it's year 61 of the revolution, I believe. So immediately I saw that the revolution was still very much a part of everyday life in Cuba. When we got to our Airbnb, I was pleased to see that it was super nice, but unfortunately that's not how most Cubans live, so it's not exactly a realistic portrait of what most Cuban living situations are like. But if you need a nice place to stay in Havana, message me because I really loved my host. She reminded me a lot of my older Cuban family. She's very chatty and fun and super sweet. Got to our Airbnb in Cuba. This is the dining room and living room. It's very pretty. Living room. I'll watch some Cuban TV to show you all. Speaking of Cuban TV, I just thought it was a cool fact to mention that In Cuba, there's only 8 channels, and they're all governed by the government or controlled by the government. So there's not many choices on what to watch, and I really missed my streaming while I was there.
It's the kitchen. Cuban coffee, so good.
And this is like a little balcony where you can see lots of Havana.
There's a man in the bed who is hungry, probably.
We're in our first restaurant here.
It's actually in Spanish. Okay, there's the chef. Has Eric ever been to Cuba?
No.
So after our little snack, which by the way, the food in Cuba is pretty good, we went for a walk along something called the Malecon, which is a long walkway by the sea. It's very popular in Havana, and we started to see the sights. Crazy fire over there. So yeah, we just walked around and then had another drink at this place called the Loco por Cuba, and then which means crazy for Cuba, if you don't know. And then on our walk home, we passed by the university for the first time, and there was like this concert going on because Cuba is going to have an election period soon to ratify a new constitution. So it was really interesting to be there at a time when the laws were changing. There was still a lot of government control over things, but things are changing. And at every event in Cuba, whether it's dinner or a political event, there's always salsa and fun Latin music happening. So you'll see that in this next clip. Okay, so this is just the very beginning. I just wanted to show you what my initial experience was like when I got to Cuba, what it looked like when I first walked around my Airbnb, and what my initial thoughts were. In the next few days, I'll be posting more vlogs about visiting Old Havana. So that's like the tourist district with the very old, beautiful buildings, and then visiting a cigar farm, tobacco farm where we rolled cigars, and horseback riding in the Cuba countryside, and so much more. So make sure that you stay vigilant over my channel in the next few days because it's only going to get better and more interesting. I can't wait to share it with you all. Bye, babes.